The morning felt wrong. The air was still, too still. Birds were silent. Dogs didn't bark. Even the wind seemed afraid to move. In the small town of Riverview, people started their day like normal. Children ate breakfast. Cars rolled down empty. Streets. No one noticed the strange shapes high above the clouds until the first shadow moved across the sun. Sarah. Cole froze as she watched the light dim outside her kitchen window. At first, she thought it was a passing storm. But when she stepped outside, her heart stopped. A massive black shape hung in the sky. It was smooth, round, and impossibly large, like a floating city made of metal. It blocked out the sun completely, plunging the entire neighborhood into darkness. Then came the sound, a deep, vibrating hum that rattled windows and made teeth ache. People clutched their ears, dropping their phones and groceries. Dogs whimpered and fled, and then the fire began. Blue beams shot down from the alien ship, striking buildings and vehicles. Houses exploded. The streets filled with screams. Sarah grabbed her young son, Tommy, and pulled him into the house. "Mom, what's happening?" Tommy's voice trembled. Stay quiet," she whispered, shoving him under the kitchen table. The ground shook as another beam split the street outside, sending chunks of asphalt flying. Through the shattered window, Sarah saw them. Drones, sleek. Machines with glowing red eyes, moving in perfect formation. They hovered above the ground, scanning every corner with sharp clicking sounds. Any movement, a sign of life, and the drones fired. Sarah's neighbor ran screaming down the street. He didn't make it 5 steps before a beam sliced him in half. Tommy sobbed softly under the table. "Don't make a sound," Sarah whispered, pulling him close. The door burst open. 2 drones floated in. Their scanning lights swept over the room. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She held Tommy tight, pressing her hand over his mouth. The drones hovered closer. Then Tommy sneezed. The red lights fixed on them. Instantly, Sarah screamed. A blast of white light filled the house, in the dense pine forests far from Riverview. Captain Elias Kane gripped his rifle and stared at the distant sky. The horizon burned. Columns of smoke rose from every major city. Giant alien ships moved in slow, deliberate patterns, firing beams of light at anything that moved. Earth had fallen in less than an hour. Kane's radio crackled, but all he heard was static. No orders, no reinforcements, nothing. The military was gone. Behind him, a small group of soldiers and civilians huddled in fear. There were less than 20 of them, all that remained of Kane's unit. "What do we do now?" one young soldier whispered. Kane looked at him with cold, steady eyes. "We survive," he said, "and we fight back." "But sir, how? They're too strong." Kane glanced at the burning cities again. For a moment, he said nothing. Then his jaw tightened. "They think they've won. That's their first mistake." On the bridge of the alien mothership, the Overlord watched Earth's surface through a massive holographic display. "Human resistance has been eliminated," a robotic voice reported. The Overlord's cold, multifaceted eyes glimmered. "Excellent. Begin harvesting operations. This planet is ours now." But deep inside the forests, humanity's spark of defiance still burned as night fell. Kane led his group deeper into the wilderness. He knew the drones would soon start scanning rural areas. They needed shelter. They needed weapons. But most of all, they needed a plan. In the distance, the sound of engines echoed. Alien patrols were already moving through the countryside. Kane crouched low, motioning for silence. "From now on," he whispered, "every step we take, every word we say, has to count. One mistake, and we're dead." The group nodded, fear etched on every face, and as the alien searchlights cut through the trees, Kane thought of the billions already lost, and vowed he wouldn't let humanity's fire die so easily. The forest was silent, except for the crunch of boots on frozen leaves. Captain Elias Kane moved like a predator, his rifle raised, scanning the darkness. Behind him, 20 frightened survivors followed in single file. Civilians clung to blankets and backpacks. Soldiers carried what little ammo remained. Somewhere above the canopy, Alien drones floated in search grids. Their red scanning lights swept through the trees like hunting eyes. "Quiet," Kane whispered. "They're close." A soft, mechanical hum grew louder. Kane motioned for everyone to get low. The group dropped into the undergrowth just as two drones glided overhead. Their lights sliced through branches, cutting across terrified faces. One small boy whimpered. His mother clamped a hand over his mouth. The drones paused. Kane gripped his rifle tighter, sweat dripping down his temple. If they're armed with sound sensors, we're dead. Seconds ticked by like ours. Then, just as suddenly, the drones moved on. Disappearing into the night, Kane exhaled slowly. We move now. Hours later, Kane's group reached the remains of an old outpost. Razor wire hung loose around the perimeter. The gate had been blown apart in an earlier attack, but the underground bunker below was still intact. "This is where we regroup," Kane said. Inside, the group crowded into the command room. Dust covered the consoles. Screens were cracked. The faint smell of smoke lingered in the air. Kane flipped a switch. Generators rumbled to life, and dim emergency lights flickered on. "Can we contact anyone?" a young soldier asked. Kane frowned. "Let's find out." He powered up the comm system and adjusted the frequency dials. Static hissed from the speakers. "Hello? This is Captain Elias Kane of the 17th Division. If any human forces remain, respond now." "Nothing." "Repeat. This is Captain Kane. We have survivors. We need reinforcements. Anyone? Please respond." Static continued. But then a faint voice crackled through. "Kane, this is Lieutenant Reyes. Northern outposts barely holding. Need help." The signal was weak, cutting in and out. "Reyes. Say again," Kane barked. "Aliens. Closing in. We're down to a dozen. Send help, or it's over." The transmission went dead. Kane stared at the radio, jaw clenched. "They're still fighting," he said. "But not for long," the survivors murmured nervously. "Sir, it's a trap," one soldier warned. "The aliens could have faked that signal. Or maybe Reyes really needs us," Kane shot back. "But if we go, we could lose everyone here."
Kane looked over the group.
Civilians tired, cold, and scared, soldiers low on ammo and morale. They had two choices: stay hidden and risk humanity's last spark dying, or move out and risk everything. Kane didn't hesitate. "We're going." By dawn, the group set out. They moved carefully, avoiding roads and open fields. Alien drones swarmed the skies. Patrols searched every ruined town. In one village, Kane watched from the shadows as alien soldiers herded screaming humans into massive cages. Those who resisted were executed on the spot. "Keep moving," Kane whispered. "We can't help them. Not now." But every step burned his soul. As the group crossed an abandoned bridge, Kane's instinct screamed danger. "Wait." He raised a fist. Too late. A blinding light engulfed the bridge. Alien drones swooped down, firing beams that sliced through the concrete. Two civilians were vaporized instantly. "Scatter." Kane yelled. Soldiers fired back with rifles and rocket launchers. The air filled with explosions and screams. Kane dragged a wounded soldier to cover. His radio crackled. "Overlord units inbound. They didn't move, they'd be wiped out. Fall back." "To the tree line," Kane ordered. The group sprinted as the bridge collapsed behind them as night fell again. They reached a hill overlooking the northern outpost. Kane peered through binoculars. The base was surrounded. Alien ships hovered above, raining fire on the defenses, but one tower still stood. Its comm array flickered with weak power. "That's our only chance," Kane muttered. "We get there, we send a message to the whole planet." "Let them know humanity's not finished yet, sir," the soldier said, pointing. Alien reinforcements were landing all around the base. Hundreds of them. Kane's jaw tightened. "Then we make every bullet count." As the group prepared for a desperate charge, the camera pans up to the sky. The alien mothership looms, larger than ever, its weapons glowing. A robotic voice echoes across the battlefield. "This planet belongs to us." "Humanity is extinct," Kane whispers under his breath. Not while I'm still breathing. The cold was biting. Captain Elias Kane's breath came in white clouds as he trudged through waist-deep snow. The forest was far behind them now. Nothing but jagged ice cliffs stretched for miles. Behind him, his group staggered forward. Half-starved, half-frozen, but still alive, they had made it out of the burning northern outpost. Barely, but humanity's last. Hope wasn't in the forests. It wasn't in the cities. It was here, at the bottom of the world. The group reached a deep crevasse. Kane raised his hand, signaling them to stop. Look out. Faint blue lights pulsed deep under the ice, like a heartbeat. What is that? What? Soldier whispered. I don't know, Kane said, but we're about to find out. As they descended into the crevasse, the snow fell harder. Ice cracked underfoot. Careful, Kane warned. Then came a sound. Thump, thump. Heavy footsteps. Get down, Kane hissed. The group dove behind an icy ridge just as an alien walker marched past. It was massive for legs, bristling with weapons, its red eyes scanning for life. One soldier's radio crackled softly. The walker froze. It turned its head. Don't move, Kane whispered. The walker's scanning light swept over them. It paused. The group held their breath. Then the walker moved on, vanishing into the snowstorm. Hours later, they reached the source of the blue lights. A massive metal door embedded in the ice. Looks like a bunker, Kane said. A soldier wiped frost from a sign above the door. It read, Project Revenant, authorized personnel only. What is Project Revenant? A civilian asked. Kane didn't answer. He didn't know, but he hoped it was a miracle. They pried the door open and stepped inside. The air was warm. Lights flickered on as motion sensors detected them. Long hallways led to a vast underground chamber. In the center stood a massive cannon, pointing straight up through a launch tunnel in the ice. This is a weapon, Kane said quietly. A big one. A holographic display lit up. Revenant, Earth Defense System status, offline terminal flashed to life. A woman's voice spoke. Welcome, Captain Kane. You are authorized for Project Revenant. Play all records, Kane ordered. The group watched in silence as old footage appeared, scientists working in secret, engineers building the cannon, a general speaking to the camera. If Earth ever falls, this weapon will be our last chance. One shot could take down an alien mothership. But be warned, activating Revenant will bring every enemy to your location. We can't activate it, one soldier said. If we do, the aliens will come for us. We're dead if we don't, Kane growled. This is how we fight back, the group argued. Fear spread like wildfire. Even if we fire, how do? We know it'll work? We don't, Kane admitted. But this is our only shot. He stepped toward the control panel. Sir, wait. But Kane's hand slammed the activation button. Warning, alarms. Blared Revenant system online. Powering up. 20%. 30%. 30%. The group rushed to defensive positions. They're coming, Kane said grimly. Get ready. Outside alien ships turned and began moving toward the pole in orbit. The Overlord watched the readings. Humans have activated a weapon, a drone reported. The Overlord's eyes narrowed. Destroy them. The camera pulls back as hundreds of alien ships descend toward Antarctica. Kane looks up at the cannon, its lights growing brighter. For Earth, he whispers. The screen cuts to black. The Revenant cannon hummed with power. Captain Elias Kane stared at the glowing control panel as lights danced across the room. Power level at 60%. The AI voice announced. Estimated time to fire, 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That was all the time they had before the aliens arrived, in the shadows of the bunker. A soldier crept toward the comms console. Private Rourke's hands trembled as he tapped a hidden transmitter strapped to his wrist. This is Rourke, he whispered. The humans have activated the weapon, sending coordinates now. A cold metallic voice replied. Acknowledged. Remain hidden. Your reward awaits. Rourke's face twisted, with fear and regret. But before he could move, a hand clamped down on his shoulder. Who are you talking to? Kane growled. Rourke spun, eyes wide. I was just Kane's fist struck like lightning. Knocking Rourke to the floor, the group gathered around, weapons raised. He's a traitor, Kane spat. He just gave our position away. No, I didn't. I swear. Kane grabbed Rourke by the collar and slammed him against the wall. Why? Kane demanded. Why betray your own species? They promised to spare me, Rourke sobbed. I didn't want to die. The group erupted in anger. You sold us out for your own skin? You killed us all? An alarm blared. Warning. Multiple hostiles detected. Kane's eyes darted to the monitors. Alien dropships were descending all around the facility. There. Here, Kane said coldly. He turned to Rourke. You want mercy? Kane raised his pistol. You won't get it from me. Bang. Rourke crumpled to the floor. Positions. Kane shouted. The group rushed to defensive lines as alien troops poured into the icy cavern. Laser fire lit up the darkness. Keep them away from the cannon, Kane ordered. Civilians cowered in the back as soldiers held the line. One by one. Kane's soldiers fell. A massive alien warrior smashed through a barricade, swinging a glowing blade. Kane lunged forward, driving his knife into its neck. But there were too many. The AI voice spoke again, power level at 99%. Firing sequence imminent. Kane looked around. Only 5 of them were left. Hold the line. He roared. Then the ceiling exploded. The alien overlord descended in a beam of light, its massive form blotting out everything. You fight well. For a dying species, it hissed. Kane raised his rifle. Maybe we're not as dead as you think. The overlord's glowing. Eyes narrowed. Then die with honor. As it raised its weapon, the revenant cannon began to glow brighter than the sun. The screen cuts to black. The revenant cannon roared to life. K. Blinding blue beams shot straight into the heavens, splitting the sky in half. Alien ships, in low orbit, scattered like startled insects. But when the largest was too slow, the beam slammed into the mothership with a deafening explosion. Kane shielded his eyes as fire rained from the sky. The alien overlord screamed as the shockwave tore through the cavern. No, this cannot be. Kane's group staggered to their feet, staring in awe. The revenant cannon's glow faded, leaving silence. Did we do it? A young soldier asked. On the bunker's cracked monitor, they watched the alien mothership tilt and spiral out. Of control, it's falling, Kane said, his voice low. We hit them. For the first time in months, hope flickered in their eyes, but it didn't last. The overlord rose from the rubble, its armor cracked and sparking. Insects, it hissed. You dare strike at us. Kane raised his rifle. We're not done yet. The overlord lunged. They fought in brutal close quarters. Kane's blade against the alien's claws. The group fired everything they had left. Chipping away at the overlord's armor, finally Kane jammed a grenade under its chest plate and kicked it back. Boom. The overlord fell, motionless. But Kane didn't smile. They'll send more, he said grimly. The bunker was in ruins. Only a handful of Kane's group survived, sir, a soldier said, pointing to the monitors. Look all across the world. Alien forces were in chaos. Drones shut down midair. Troop transports crashed into mountains and oceans. They're retreating, the soldier whispered. Kane stared in disbelief. No. They're regrouping in deep space. Alien commanders argued over the holographic ruins of their mothership. The humans have a weapon capable of destroying us. They must be exterminated now. Back in the bunker, Kane studied the Revenant's systems. That was our only shot, he said. The cannon's power core is destroyed. We can't fire again. Then what do we do? Kane's jaw tightened. We take the fight to them. Kane stood before his small group. We'll use their own ships against them. We get aboard their orbital platforms. We destroy them from the inside. You're talking suicide, a soldier said. Maybe, Kane admitted. But if we don't fight, Earth is finished. As they prepared to move out, the camera pulls back. Above Earth, a massive alien armada approached. But now, for the first time, humans weren't running anymore. The night sky glowed red. Captain Elias Kane stood on a snowy ridge, staring at the alien armada above. Hundreds of ships now orbited Earth like a ring of fire. "They're angry," Kane muttered. "We hurt them. Now they're coming for us." Behind him, his small group of survivors looked exhausted. Worn faces, shaking hands, but eyes filled with determination. "Sir," one soldier said nervously, "what's the plan?" Kane didn't answer immediately, because this time, he wasn't sure they had one. The sky cracked open. Alien dreadnoughts fired down massive energy pulses, flattening cities in seconds. Entire forests went up in flames. Oceans boiled as heat waves swept across the globe. Human survivors screamed in terror, scattering like ants as alien war machines landed to finish the job. "They're wiping out everything," a civilian whispered. Watching through binoculars, Kane's jaw tightened. "They're not wiping out everything," he said coldly. "Not as long as we're still breathing." But deep down, even Kane wondered how much longer that would be true. A high-pitched whine filled the air. "Cover your ears," Kane shouted. The aliens unleashed their next weapon, a planet-wide EMP blast. Every electronic device on Earth dead. The Revenant cannon's remains went dark. Vehicles stopped. Radios fell silent. "We just lost everything," one soldier whispered. "Not everything," Kane growled, slinging his rifle. "We've still got these." He patted the rifle's stock and turned to his team. "We do this the hard way." Kane's group tracked a crashed alien dropship into the forest. Inside, they found weapons, alien rifles, energy grenades, and strange suits of armor. "Looks like they left us some gifts," Kane said grimly. They geared up, under cover of darkness. Kane led his group to the edge of an alien encampment. Massive ships hovered above, loading resources and humans alike. "They're not just killing us," a soldier whispered. "They're taking prisoners. For what?" Kane didn't answer. He didn't want to think about it. "Here's the plan," he said instead. "We get aboard one of those ships. We plant explosives. We make sure it doesn't leave Earth." The plan worked at first. They fought their way aboard a massive carrier ship, cutting down alien soldiers in brutal close-quarters combat, but then the alarms blared. Reinforcements poured in from every corridor, one by one. Kane's people fell. "Go," shouted Sergeant Mason, holding the line with a stolen alien rifle. "Get to the core. We're not leaving you," Kane yelled. "You already have." Mason slammed the blast doors shut. An explosion rocked the ship as Mason sacrificed himself. Kane's jaw tightened. Another name added to the long list of dead. Kane and two surviving soldiers reached the ship's power core. They set the explosives and sprinted for the escape pods. As they launched back toward Earth, the carrier ship erupted in flames behind them in orbit. The alien fleet shuddered. The humans had struck again. But on the surface, alien commanders prepared. For their final move, initiate the cleansing protocol. The Overlord's voice hissed. In the distance, Kane saw a strange glow forming in the clouds. "What are they doing now?" A soldier whispered. Kane didn't answer, because he had no idea. The screen cuts to black. The Earth was dying. From his vantage point atop a frozen ridge, Captain Elias Kane watched fire consume the horizon. Alien ships rained down energy blasts, burning forests, flattening cities, and boiling oceans. "They're not conquering anymore," Kane muttered. "They're exterminating." The last of his group stood behind him, 3 soldiers and 1 civilian girl, her face smudged with ash. "What? Now, sir?" one soldier asked, voice shaking. Kane tightened his grip on his rifle. "We finish this, one way or another." High in orbit, the alien mothership loomed larger than anything Kane had ever seen. It wasn't just a ship, it was a fortress. "That's where it ends," Kane said. "We get on board, we plant a bomb, we take their leader with us." "Sir, that's suicide," another soldier whispered. "I know," Kane said. "But it's the only chance Earth has left." The group fell silent. Then one by one they nodded. Under the cover of the storm, Kane's team hijacked a small alien scout craft. They rose through the atmosphere, slipping past patrols and defense grids. Inside the mothership, alien soldiers marched in endless columns. Massive glowing conduits pulsed like veins, pumping energy to weapons that could destroy continents. "We plant the bomb at the core," Kane whispered. "We don't leave until it's done." The group moved like shadows, cutting down alien guards with stolen rifles and blades, but alarms blared. "They know we're here," Kane growled. "No turning back now." The corridors became a slaughterhouse. One soldier fell, holding off a wave of attackers to buy the others time. Then, another stayed behind to block a sealed door. "You keep going, sir?" he shouted. "Don't waste my death." Finally, Kane and the civilian girl reached the heart of the ship. The alien overlord waited for them. "You humans never learn," it hissed. "Your species is weak, your resistance meaningless." Kane raised his rifle? Maybe, but we're stubborn as hell. The overlord lunged. They fought in a brutal clash of steel and claws. Kane was thrown against a wall, his armor cracking. "Stay down, human," the overlord growled. But Kane got back up. "Not while I'm still breathing." With a roar, he plunged his blade into the overlord's chest. Kane set the bomb's timer. "Get to the escape pod," he told the girl. "I'm not leaving you." She cried. "You have to," Kane said, pressing the detonator into her hands. "You're the future now." She ran as Kane turned back to the overlord's twitching body. As the timer ticked down, Kane whispered to himself, "For Earth." The screen fades to white as the mothership shakes violently. The sky was quiet. For the first time in months, no alien ships blotted out the sun, no beams of energy split the earth, no drones hunted survivors in burning streets. Earth was silent, but the silence didn't feel like death. It felt like peace. A small escape pod crashed into a meadow outside what used to be New York City. The hatch opened, and a young girl staggered out. Her clothes were torn, her hands blistered, but she was alive in her fist. She clutched the detonator Kane had given her. She looked up at the sky. The alien mothership was gone. Only falling debris and streaks of fire remained where it had been. The girl collapsed to her knees and wept. Kane had done it. He'd saved Earth, across the planet. Human survivors emerged from bunkers and caves. They stared in awe at the empty skies. "They're gone," one man whispered. "We're free," another said. For the first time in forever, laughter returned to the world. But the cost was immense. Billions were dead. Cities were ash. Forests were nothing but blackened stumps. The young girl stood atop a hill, looking down at the ruins. "We'll rebuild," she said softly. A soldier beside her nodded. For Kane. No one knew what had happened to Captain Elias Kane. Some said he died in the mothership's explosion. Others believed he was still out there, watching from the shadows. But one thing was certain, he had become a symbol, across the world. Survivors scrawled his name on walls and banners. "Kane lives." In a hidden military base deep underground, an old radio crackled to life. "This is Kane. Earth. Safe." The voice was weak, barely more than a whisper. But it was enough, sir. "It's him," a young technician gasped. "I'm coming home." The screen cuts to black dot, text appears on screen. Earth was almost lost, but humanity endured. And as long as we endure, we can never be defeated. The HFY logo fades in with an epic score.